you will get a lot of opportunities.
Right.
So if you do join Sokrati, don't hesitate to grab them with both your hands. And be rest assured that you won't be thrown into the deep end to like learn swimming on your own perhaps, but you will get enough guidance from your seniors.
Very good afternoon, friends, and welcome to this episode, Heroes of Sokrati. I am Manoj Vanjari. I'll be the host uh, for the conversation. We have with us an esteemed leader, Nitin Uppot. Nitin, welcome to this episode, Heroes of Sokrati. Thanks for your time. And before we get into picking your brains, a little about yourself, Nitin.
Sure. Thanks, Manoj. I really like this initiative. Heroes of Sokrati gets us into the mindset and brain of all the leaders in the organization. So it's a great initiative. Well, I have been here for a short while. If I'm being honest, it's only been 9 months. But these 9 months have been quite eventful. I mean, there's a lot that my team has done. Plus, there's a lot I've learned as well along the way. So
Sure.
it's been quite a joy ride, so as to speak, so far.
Great, great, great. Nitin, what I'm going to jump into a question is relevant to this experience of your 9 months is that uh, what, according to you, is that differentiates Sokrati from other organizations from your experience?
Yeah. So one thing that really stands out about Sokrati is the way it's grown since its inception. I mean, for an organization that's been around for a little over a decade,
Correct.
that growth is like immense, and it's like something that should be turned into a case study for perhaps other startups and agencies in
Sure.
India and perhaps abroad too. And the last I heard was that a company's strength is close to 1,300. So that is just ominous growth, and it's I'm proud to be a part of this organization simply because of its growth story. I wasn't part of it, but I've heard it from all the others who've been there longer, and it's quite enlightening to hear about how the founders got to growing this little dream of theirs into something this big. We had one office initially, and now there's a second one, and with the number of employees coming in each day or each week, to have this thought that we might need another office, that headache is a very good one to have. That shows how the company is growing.
Yeah. True, Nitin. Absolutely right. During these last 3 quarters, how have you been keeping yourself motivated? How do you think the organization has been keeping you motivated?
I think one thing that anyone aspiring to join Sokrati can be, rest assured of is the fact that whatever level they join at, they will be given opportunities to lead in any sort of quantity. It could be a massive amount if you are at a senior level, or if you're at a juniorish level, it will be at a smaller amount. But you will get an opportunity to take up, some responsibility which will make you sharpen your leadership abilities and skills. So that's something that I've noticed that Sokrati encourages all its employees to do. We follow the same thing in like the sales enablement team as well, and I ensure that all the members of the team get to train some of the new joinees who come in, so that itself gets them to sort of heighten their leadership abilities. Apart from that, there are many projects that we divide in such a way that there are different people leading at different points. So
Sure.
that's one thing that I think the organization is doing beautifully.
Great, great. Nice, Nitin. I'm going to dive a little into your core area or I'm sure, your expertise, that is content.
Yes.
It will be very interesting to hear a little about what does your organization do, what leadership drive do you do in the content area, because those who are aspiring to come into content or those who are going to move into content, it will definitely be interesting.
Got it. I think I'll just talk a little bit about content in general first, because
Sure.
it is perhaps something that just keeps evolving each day, each week, and each month. And you'll keep seeing changes. So there's this usual saying that goes, change is the only constant, but I sort of rephrase it to change is the only content. And if you
Brilliant.
look at, I've been in around content for over 10 years now. It was vastly different from when I started. It's completely changed, and I still remember. I'll share an anecdote from one of my previous experiences. I was
Sure.
working in an agency in 2012. It was my second job, and one of the business leads came up to like our core team and asked us, what business idea would you propose for the team to make money out of in the future perhaps.
Mhm.
So one of my ideas back then was that it was a digital agency, so my idea was somewhere along the same lines, and I had proposed that the agency should start perhaps reaching out to various brands so that we could take up their social media mandates.
Mhm.
And at that point, the business lead he just told me that, "Are you sure that that will get us a lot of money?" So
Mhm.
I said, I was honest. I said I'm not aware of how much it could make us, but I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure that that's the direction we should go into.
Mhm.
Well, I think 2 years from there, then on, the agency started looking at acquiring a lot of social media brands to work on, and I think that's one of the key lines of business at this point. I mean, it started becoming a key line of business from 2015 onwards. So one thing, if you are in the field of content, that you should do, it's like a takeaway from this little story of mine, is that you should always try to stay ahead of the curve. If you don't, I think you will be left behind and your ideas will not be fresh. It's as simple as that.
Sure.
You might
Sure.
just quote something that someone else has already done, like thousands of others must have already done. So yeah, that's something that as a content creator, not just a writer, content creator could be any kind, needs to keep in mind. The other thing that I always urge content creators to do is, gone are those days where you would just be a writer, a video editor, or a designer, or a visualizer.
Mhm.
If you are any of these today, you need to understand how to sell your content, and which is where I think content marketing comes into play.
Mhm.
And I think uh, for the last few years we must have been seeing a lot of content marketing jobs being springing up in many organizations. And this is the reason: if you are creating content and if you don't know how to sell it, your content is as good as dead.
Correct.
So it's very important for you to understand how to place your content forward, understand the audience you're trying to create it for, and then sell it.
Can you elaborate a little about what are the advancements in the content industry? What is the kind of thing which Sokrati offers to the customer? So, from the content perspective and the Sokrati, would you like to highlight something?
Yeah, sure. I think you touched upon one of those points right now, like a minute or so ago. Technology. So back in the day, content didn't really depend much on tech. But if you
Yes.
see these days, there's a lot of intertwining between content and tech,
Sure.
and this can be clearly visible in the way some of these major brands start investing in tech partners.
Sure.
And Sokrati, being a digital agency, has always, I think, from whatever I've seen around, we do rely on tech to bolster the content forward, and that's very key when it comes to performance marketing anyway. So this marriage between content and tech is something that Sokrati has been pioneering, and the results are clear. I mean, there are so many emails that I keep seeing from various business units mentioning appreciation mails and results that are like mind blowing, 300% increases in something and stuff like that. Those are really enthralling to see from time to time, and that shows how this marriage is actually working, and it's something that will go on for some time before something else takes its place also.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what? I think the pandemic has done a lot of bad things to a lot of people and businesses, but it was like a blessing in disguise for any organization that runs on digital purely. So for us, it's been a boon of sorts, you can say. Yes, there has been its own set of challenges, but I think the more quickly you learn and adapt, the easier it is for you to sustain yourself in such situations. And I think most digital organizations have leveraged this and sort of seen growth during the pandemic as well.
True, true, absolutely. So great.
Yeah.
Nitin, on the same lines, what I'll be interested now from you to hear is that uh, you definitely have seen the world. You definitely have seen a huge amount at Sokrati. So for the new folks coming on board, what are those one or two things which you may recommend to be successful at Sokrati?
Well, like I said earlier, you will get a lot of opportunities.
Right.
So if you do join Sokrati, don't hesitate to grab them with both your hands. And be rest assured that you won't be thrown into the deep end to like learn swimming on your own perhaps, but you will get enough guidance from your seniors. Everyone over here is approachable, whether it is a manager at a like a mid senior level, or someone right up there like like a CEO, anybody else in Sokrati. So
True.
everybody is completely approachable, so you should ensure that you take your opportunities and learn from that, and also reach out if you have any suggestions. And because everyone and anyone has a lot of ideas in this day. So you should never feel that your idea could be, substandard or not what the others are thinking about. Perhaps you never know what it could spark. So you should always be very proactive in whatever you want to do over here. You plan your own career path is what I tell everyone who joins. So that is something they can do. Like in our team, we ensure that uh, each of the team members shares a career path with us, whether that's for 2 years from now or even 10 years from now. So it could be anything, and we encourage them to be open about what they want to do in the future, even if they have entrepreneurial goals, for example. Fair enough. I mean, they may not want to work in an agency in 10 years from now. They may want to have their own business, so as to speak. But there's a lot you can learn over here to achieve that goal in the future. So that's what we keep driving always as a message.
What we would like to understand from you is that what is your leadership style, and what would you like to share about leadership to the new joinees at Sokrati?
Sure. So I think whatever you do as a leader, always do with a smile. Whether it's giving feedback or listening to someone in your team, firefighting a particular project or task, or for that matter, even firing someone. I haven't done that till date, and I hope I don't also. But
Sure.
whatever it is that you do with a smile. But on a more serious note, if you have to, if I have to dissect how I sort of try to be a leader,
Right.
is my style, if you have to coin a term for that, would be an adaptive one. So it's a mix of being proactive and reactive depending on what the situation is.
True.
And I think that's a hallmark of a great leader would eventually be how he or she understands the team members. Like different people, come from different backgrounds, have been in different organizations, have seen different kinds of leaders, right, in their past. And freshers, on the other hand, they have never been in an organization, and it will be completely new for them. So you need to understand how to tackle everyone in their own customized way, so as to speak. I'll give you a few examples as well. So you, in my opinion, you need to be a leader needs to be proactive more often than not when they're trying to achieve team growth. So this could be done with a lot of proactive measures or initiatives or even activities. So we have a few in our team that we started, like I have started, and some of the others also contributed equally, if not more. And one of them is the present tables that we have in the sales enablement team. So the need of this exercise came from the mere fact that we do end up presenting to a lot of global stakeholders. And there are times when a few presenters might feel nervous, or might fumble a bit, and might get thrown off track at times. But the whole purpose of this entire exercise is to ensure and tell everyone that it's okay to do that. So what we do is we get one member from the team each week to pick a topic of their interest. It need not be work related, it could be anything, it could be travel, food, or anything, and present about it for 10 minutes. That's the time limit we give. And you could have a presentation of a few slides. So once they're done, we appreciate their efforts and all of that, and I also share a one-on-one email with detailed feedback of what they did right or what they could improve on, stuff like that. So this is something that will help the team understand some of the nuances of how you could present, and if you face any obstacle while you're presenting, how do you overcome those. So that's something that even if you're not presenting, you can learn from the one who's presenting perhaps on that particular day. There are other initiatives that the other team members have come up with. There's a book club. So we being a content team, we always try to strive for improvement, whether it's vocabulary or grammar or anything else that's to do with writing per se. So the book club is just a simple initiative where one member of the team will pick 2 books for a month, and there'll be votes on which one the entire team should read in that particular month. So what we also have, another team member coined this interesting name for this activity called FED Talk. So FED stands for food, entertainment, and drama. Food simply because that's a binding factor for all of us in the team. And we try to have this call, we try to have it every Friday, but we end up not having it every Friday. So whichever Friday is relatively free, we slot in an hour's time to just do casual chit chat, like chai pe charcha, for example, something like that. And there have been many instances where this 1 hour call has gone on to 2 hours and 2.5 hours, simply because we are sharing so many interesting, stories from everyone's lives to experiences and whatnot. So that's a nice way to bond, I think, in a team. Something that I think almost each and every team should definitely look to do.
True.
Apart from that, I would say the reactive side of being a leader is simply by understanding how each team member functions. It could be observing patterns or certain traits, maybe leadership, maybe certain things that need a little uplift or improvement or even empowerment for that matter. So you observe a lot, and when you have this cluster of ideas or thoughts that you want to share with a particular team member, you get on a one-on-one call and tell them that, look, this is something that you've been really amazing at, and this is something that you're showing sparks of, and you can probably sharpen it and do it even better. So constructive feedback, that's what uh, is a key part of being a reactive leader also. So these are two facets of leadership that I try to follow,
Fantastic.
and so far, touchwood, it's been helpful also, and
Great.
hopefully it helps everyone learn a little bit too.
I think, Nitin, that was wonderful of you to share the concept of adaptive leadership. It's a blend of proactive and reactive. So, what would be one or two things you would like to share about this work-life balance?
When you're at office, you don't have to, for example, like fill bottles of water perhaps at home, or for that matter, cook something also at that point. But when you're working from home, there are so many of these little tasks that come up, and you might have to share responsibilities with whoever you're staying with. It could be your spouse, it could be your parents or in-laws or whoever, and you may have to help them out at different points of time when you're working. And to understand that is very important. So each member in the team needs to understand what kind of responsibilities the other members have, and that's how you have a very ironed out relationship within members in the team. And these are challenges that I think were new for everyone when the pandemic sort of
Yeah.
set in, but
Yeah.
now I think it's expected, and people have understood how to to figure out how to work from home effectively. We also are flexible with the login and logout timings, but if you had to put it into one stack, I would say that 8 hours is what we ensure we work, and if
Great.
it's a light day, that's it. We don't stretch beyond that. But of course, there'll be some days when there'll be a deadline and you might have to work for 10 hours, but that's like not a lot, and we manage that very well. So there's a way we manage it also. We have something called a timesheet that we maintain. Each
Mhm.
team member maintains their own timesheet, so we don't have a login logout
Yeah.
biometric system, obviously, when you're
True.
working from home.
Correct.
So the timesheet helps us understand how much time is allotted to various projects. But
Yeah.
apart from that, what it also does is helps us understand if a particular team member is working at, let's say, 110% capacity,
True.
while the rest of the team is somewhere between 90 and 95. So in that
Mhm.
case, we try to divide or distribute work in a way which will possibly end up ensuring that everyone has a similar set of utilization percentage.
True.
So that's one way where we also try to ensure that this work life balance for everyone in the team, it should be fair for all.
So great. I think that was a very interesting perspective on the leadership and, of course, this work-life balance, which is very
Yeah,
necessary. Brilliant conversation, Nitin, and look forward for such more conversations in the future and pick your brains for it.
certainly, Manoj, always available for that.
Thank you very much. And if you are keen and eager to invite us to your campus, please do so. We'll be more than happy to schedule a campus talk and interview folks to come and join at Sokrati. Thank you. Have a good day.